Let's look at the interest rates given to small businesses in the country.
Yeah.
Do you think that the banks and also other financial institutions actually consider the size of these businesses before giving them money or charging them interest on the monies that they give to them? Because the communique also reads that the Bank of Industry, the Bank of Agriculture and all the financial institutions should consider relaxing some of the stringent conditions that have over time created difficulties for these small businesses to access funds.
Yeah, you see, when you talk of interest rate, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, NEFund, National Economic Reconstruction Fund, all these are the women finance institutions. Their interest rate is quite low, really, 10% or less than 10%. So you can't compare that with what is obtainable with universal deposit banks. No, that's commercial banks. You know what commercial, you know their own, and they've been telling you their challenge is this: they are managing shareholders' funds, and at the end of the year, they are not going to tell stories to their shareholders. That was why when Sanusi came up with the idea of Smile Scheme, people commended it. So, okay, if you feel that you don't want to play around with your shareholders' fund, why not you set aside 10% of your profit before tax?
Aren't those Bank of Industry and Bank of Agriculture really assisting the small business owner? Because if the commercial banks are saying that, oh, we are working with shareholders' funds and we have to guard them very jealously, are the Bank of Industry and also of Agriculture not meeting up to the requirement to fund these businesses?
In terms of interest rate, I've said their interest rate is quite good because they are not commercially oriented. Now the issue is the fund they have. The fund they have, will it be enough to go around all those that need it? Bank of Industry is just one institution that focuses on industrial development. Bank of Agriculture is for agricultural development. You understand? NEFund, also industry, agriculture. You understand? But what they have, the fund they have, is it enough to go around? But the other point they raise there is they say stringent conditions. And what I understand by this is not the interest rate. For example, finance me to assess fund either through Bank of Industry or any of these other development finance institutions, there are some conditions. For example, if you need funds from some of them, they say go and bring CFO. But today, me and you know in Nigeria, for you to get a CFO over your property in Nigeria, the only person that have the power to sign it is the governor of a state. And I can tell you, before you go through the governor's office to have this signed, it's a Herculean task. And if you don't have it, means you have a roadblock for you. How do you access the money? You understand? Many times it's very important for people to know where the problem is. Last year, we had a corporate assembly with the Lagos State governor. And this was one of the issues the organized private sector raised with him. He apologized and said, look, a lot of the CEOs request for CFOs that are on his table, he's going to address them. But if Fashola will say that, what of the other 35 state governors? This I'm telling you now is a major handicap. This bank may approve your facility, but now they need a landed property, and the only thing to show ownership is your CFO. And if you don't have it, then where are you going to? You will not be able to access the fund. Did you get what I'm saying? From what the communique is saying, what is it? Stringent. That's it. That's one major stringent condition that the SMEs face before they can access funds from these organizations.
All right, I think
then some other associated costs and all whatnot. That's what they mean.
Okay,
but in terms of interest rate, I must tell you the interest rate is good.
Okay, I believe they're listening to this program and watching as well to know where they would need to help the small business owners more. Thank you for your time. I have to let you go at this point. I appreciate your time with us on the program.
Before we close,
I guess I'm afraid I have to close the show. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I have to close the show.
Yes.
Our guest has been AKOBG. He is the National Secretary, Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Association of Small and Medium Enterprises in the country, and we have been looking at ways to grow the SMEs in Algeria, and of course considering the Smithern communique that was actually made public just a few days ago after its retreat in Kaduna. And that's where we wrap up the program. We appreciate your time with us on the show. We hope you join us again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I am Bolaji Akinwale. News Track is coming up next.